Hello everybody, my name's Nicola and welcome back to my channel. This is the Frugal Cottage, where we talk all things money to help you on your financial journey. Today's video is my No Spend September second week update, so don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's get started. So I hope you've had another fantastic week in September. I feel like it is definitely cooler now and we're definitely back into the routine of school and all of that and all that comes with that. So let's go through the numbers. So if you're new here, this is my budget planner. This is how I track all of my spending. So the first thing to talk through is my No Spend Day tracker. So as you can see, the second week in September has been really good as well. I do find that when I can focus on something, so I know that September is short. So although I'm doing a no spend year and kind of slightly different aims, I guess, for that, No Spend September is short. I can do that for long enough, as in there's an end point, although once I get into this, actually I do find that I tend to stick with it anyway. But my No Spend Day tracker is looking really good. The second week has been good in terms of no spend days. So I've now had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 out of the 14 days in September have been no spend days. So that is definitely on track for this. I think that couldn't really be going any better at this stage. I'm really happy with how that looks. I like all the yellow on there. And the 2 days that I spent have been kind of the food shop days, of things where it is, although it's still a planned spend, I count them as spend days because I do tend to spend all in one go, and then the rest of the time, again, as you'll see, it is just how that looks. So if we turn over, so I went through week 1 last week. If you've not seen the video, it's the last video on my channel. So week 2 was the same aim, so 6 no spend days was the aim for week 2. I feel like, judging how positive I felt about how week 1 had gone and how I knew how the week looked as well and what we'd got on or not got on, I figured 6 no spend days was fairly doable in that sense. And again, I've just added stickers just to make it look slightly more colourful. So the first spend for me this week just gone was on Wednesday. I needed more petrol in the car. The light was on again. I tend to now run it down as far as I can before getting more. So £42.22 spent on petrol, and so that still counts as a no spend day because I need petrol to get to work. I did explain a bit more about that last week, but I need petrol to do everything else. So for me in my no spend day tracker, petrol doesn't count because I need it to get everywhere, including work. So it's a non-negotiable in my budget really, even though the expense category is a variable expense, I also need to pay it. So there's that. So Saturday, so all the rest of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, didn't spend anything at all. Saturday I went shopping. I went to Lidl and to Sainsbury's. I like to buy the little smoothie cartons from Lidl. They're cheaper than the ones in Sainsbury's, and my eldest son likes them in his packed lunch. So I get those from Lidl, and I got a couple of other things. So I spent £5.95 on food in Lidl, and then I went to Sainsbury's and spent £34.99 on food, £1.80 on some cat biscuits, and £7 on, I actually treated myself to some new socks because I needed some. And then I also ordered on Amazon, because it's cheap on Amazon, I ordered a big box of cat food, and that's the one that I have on my Amazon wish list, but I needed some. So I have filled in all the categories for that, as in like the space, but I feel like that's, they are, everything that I bought, including the socks to be fair, were a planned spend. I did almost get tempted by a jumper in Sainsbury's. I feel like their autumn, loads of their autumn clothes are absolutely lovely, but if there's anything that I don't need in my wardrobe at the moment, it is more jumpers. And of course, that doesn't go with a no spend month theme either, so I put it back. I don't need any more jumpers, and I have talked before about how I really hate clothes shopping, and I do. Jumpers are my weakness, and I have a ridiculous amount of them really for one person, but I love a good jumper. But I did put it back, but I needed socks, so that was a planned spend, the socks anyway. So that's what that looks like. So in the end, for week 2 check-in page, so I spent £40.94 on food, I did want to get that under £37 so that it gave me £100 left for the last 2 weeks, but I didn't. So £40.94 spent on food. That means that I have £96.14 remaining of the food budget for the next 2 weeks. That being said, we are, I have done a food shop, and touch wood, that should kind of, I'm pleased with this remaining number. I feel like that will be okay. It is definitely cheaper when I don't take my children food shopping with me, but it is what it is. And the only slight thing is I've been using lots of things from the freezer this past week, because some of the stuff I've had in my freezer I've had for ages, and when you think I should probably use that, like I know they're in the freezer, but I always think you should use them by a certain point if they've been in the freezer long enough, if that makes any sense. And on the food menu meal plan this week, there's also things in the freezer, so I think by next weekend I think the freezer might be looking fairly empty. And so at some point soon I am going to have to do a bit more of a larger food shop to then cook things for the freezer, if that makes sense. But it does all tend to balance out eventually. £47.22 on petrol, which leaves me with £156.66 remaining. Again, petrol is just one of those things that I need to get every time. Cat food. So I budgeted £15 for the cat this month, and I've already spent £12.41 this, well, I spent it this week. That leaves me £2.59, but he shouldn't need any more of anything, I don't think, now until next month. Now that I've only got one cat, I don't go through as much cat food or cat litter as obviously I used to. So hopefully that'll be fine. And then miscellaneous, like I said, I bought myself some socks for £7. That leaves £13 in that budget remaining. And then I've had 6 no spend days. Like I said, I've shown you my no spend day tracker, and I am really pleased with how that's looking. The momentum is there, which is important, especially when it gets to this point in the month where we're almost halfway through. The novelty can maybe wear off a bit more at this point. I'm feeling good about this at the moment. There's no extra income this month. I have listed some more things on Facebook Marketplace, and I get this, I told you I would. I've listed some things on Vinted. Well, I say some, not very many, just so I get used to how it works. So not very many, to be fair, but I have done that. So hopefully watch this space. That will have something in there next week. And then overall thoughts on the week. So it's been another great week. I have not felt like spending at all. Like I say, the only time I was tempted by something that I do not need and really don't need was this jumper in Sainsbury's. It was like a really nice dark green jumper. Not fancy at all, just it was a really nice colour. Dark green suits me as a colour. But like I said, I don't need it, and I did put it back. I did have it in the trolley, I'm not going to lie, but then I thought about it. As I wandered around the rest of Sainsbury's to do the food shop, I was like, you don't need any more jumpers, you've got loads. So I then went and put it back. So I guess you can even call that a bit of a victory in terms of temptation versus need and want, and I definitely don't need it. Did I want it? Yeah. And there was also a really nice pair of pyjamas, but again, I don't need these things, and especially in a no spend month where I am trying so hard to like rein in my spending, because once you kind of get in the habit of treating yourself to things, and it does become a habit that's hard to break. And so I didn't need it and I put it back, so I'm going to take that as a definite win there. And knowing me, the next time we go in Sainsbury's, it won't be there anyway, because they tend to kind of, if you see it one time, it might not be there the week after, because they tend to go through, the Sainsbury's I go to anyway, they tend to go through things, and then once they've sold out, they don't get them again. So if it's still there in October, then maybe, but I don't really need it really. This is me trying to justify buying yet another jumper that I don't need. So yeah, but on the whole, the only one, and again, I said this last week, the food budget is the one that's tricky. I feel like food prices, things are going up, and again, I talked about that last week when I did my weekly update. But hopefully, all being good, it will be fine. And then for week 3, all I've put here is, again, aims of the week is 6 no spend days, and we will see. So that is my week 2 check-in for No Spend September. How has your week been? How is it looking for the week ahead? How are you feeling about things? And how many no spend days have you had if you are tracking them? And as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it really helps the channel out. And I will see you again very soon.